Morena koutou. Welcome everyone and to this Meet the Candidates session. As Air New Zealand says, if this is not what you're expecting to hear, the close button is on the bottom right red button on your screen. Ko Tania Williams, toku ingoa. My name is Tania Williams. I'm one of the general managers here at Engineering New Zealand Te Aoranga Hou. Thank you for being here so bright and early this Friday morning. Really appreciate the candidates taking the time, but also those of you taking the time to come and meet our fantastic lineup of candidates this morning. First thing I want to do is acknowledge the challenges that Auckland and the Upper North Island have gone through with the extreme weather event this week. Our thoughts are with everybody in the aftermath of that event and those that have experienced in Te Araha, the earthquake frightening at 2 a.m. this morning. It has not been an easy week to get through, and we are there. Also want to acknowledge the volunteers. We have had part in helping to get the rapid building assessors and those assessing landslides and land stability and things in and around Auckland, and we are so grateful for the many of you who have been willing and are out there now and will be for quite some time to come. So thank you for that. And now on with the show. We are incredibly grateful to our 12 candidates that could be here this morning. Unfortunately, Akira Kepu is absent, but there is plenty on their profile, and so please remember that they are a candidate as well. I wanted just to confirm that we have 3 positions. We have the contestable vice president position, which is a senior office holder, and we have 2 candidates on this morning. We have Aaron and Kenny. Then we have 11 candidates for the 2 board positions. So that includes Kenny, who is going for both. We will invite the format for this morning is we'll invite the candidates to introduce themselves, asking them to keep it to about 2 minutes. You've got their profiles, but just to really say what they want to say about themselves and why they're standing. And then we'll ask you, as Holly said, we will go through some questions that have already been submitted by our members, and we'll just randomly allocate those to the panel here this morning. But if there are questions, please put them in the question and answer at the bottom of your screen, and provided we have time, I will get to those towards the end of the session. So just a reminder that this is a live event. None of this is recorded, but it is being recorded as we go, so that those who are unable to make it this morning will have the opportunity to hear from our candidates as well. All right, candidates. First thing, introduce yourself. 2 minutes. I will do something like this. If you're going a bit long, I can't cut you off, but you know, we'll work on that. So just so as to be clear and not confuse too many people, we'll go with Aaron and then Kenny as the vice president candidates. And then, because I am Tania Williams and both names are at the end of the alphabet, we will be doing reverse first name alphabetical order for the rest of the introductions, starting with Wayne, ending with Aidan. So hopefully that's not too confusing with anyone. So I will just say your first name when you're up, and then if you can go into your introductions. Thank you. So we'll start with you, Aaron.
Pleasure, thank you. And tēnā koutou katoa, really pleased to be with you here today. My name is Aaron Hockman. I'm really pleased to stand for the vice president position this year on the board. As some background, I'm the chair of Jacobs New Zealand. Jacobs is a multidisciplinary engineering consultancy with over 400 people across New Zealand, offices in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. I'm actually based in Auckland, and my thoughts go out to people affected with the flooding recently. I also hold an executive leadership role as our Director of Operations for Energy and Power across ANZ. And I bring with that the deep domain knowledge in that area, and particularly around energy transition to a net zero carbon future. It's an area I'm passionate about, and I think it's well aligned to Engineering NZ's climate action program. And I'm really keen, and if I'm successful, to continue to support and grow that program. I'm an experienced director, over 8 years of company directorship. I'm a chartered member of the Institute of Directors, and I'm a proud chartered professional engineer as well, and practice area assessor. A little bit about me. I spent 5 years in leadership and governance roles in Southeast Asia. So I was based in the Philippines, 2015 to 2019. Really pleased in that role to engage with government, engage with New Zealand trade and enterprise and private stakeholders. And what I most liked about that role is actually flying the New Zealand flag. I was really pleased to enhance our reputation, provide the opportunities for membership in Jacobs and beyond, and really see the positive impact we can have for those communities. During that time, I led the integration of a number of different companies and really leading organizations through change, which was a really good learning for me. But key was, living and learning in a different culture, different environment. As an expatriate engineer, gave me a really good perspective on culture, views, and other organizations. And I think I bring that international experience and perspective to the board. I think engineering in New Zealand and engineering New Zealand in particular do great work, a little insular, and I think we can do a bit more to extend our reach to other organizations such as Engineers Australia, for example. And I think that would deliver some really good opportunity and value for our membership and having that global reach, and I think I can bring that. Within Jacobs, I'm the signatory for our work for the Diversity Agenda Accord. I'm really, really proud of what we've done as a company, growing competency at board level and through our management team and staff. We were nominated in 21 as a finalist for the Engineering Diversity Awards. I'm really proud of what we've done, and I'm really motivated to try and bring what we've learned to the board and to others. We've done great work, I think, raising awareness of Treaty of Waitangi principles. I think that's a start, and we can talk about that as an organisation. But I think what we need to do is help engineers with practical training and tools that they can link their technical contributions to Te Ao Māori. That's something we've looked at Jacobs, and something I think we can share with the wider group as well. So in summary, really pleased to be here, really pleased to stand for the VP position. I think I bring a lot with my governance experience, my international thoughts and perspective, but really I'm motivated to contribute to Engineering New Zealand and bringing engineering to life for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Kenny.
Thank you, Tanya, and also thank you for those who have put your hand up to stand for this year's election. Tēnā koutou, ko kini tau taku ingoa. It is my privilege here to spend and serve our organization and be re-elected and also elected for the VP role in this election. So my thoughts are with those who are affected with the recent events, and I hope that your family are safe and sound. So my passion to become an engineer started from formative years and desire to make a positive impact that transformed myself to be a purposeful leader in leading industries, communities, and society to strive for climate action. I've spent 25 years experience in private sector, public, and not-for-profit, pioneering climate initiatives in Aotearoa through diverse, skilled, and innovative teams that provide collaborative and innovative solutions. I believe volunteering is an invitation for servant leadership, and I have committed to build a strong and diverse group of action leaders unified around a spirit of service and capable of working across multiple tasks. For the last 3 years, I have the opportunity to serve the organization as the board member and contributed sound governance practices to refresh our organization strategy, worked with technical groups, branches, and number of volunteers to stay current and connected in our profession. In 2016 and 2019, I was the chair of the Wellington branch and hosted over 30 events each year. And that gave me an extreme humble to receive the 2020 Fulton Downer President Gold Award for Outstanding Achievement by Engineering New Zealand. And I was the first Asian female to receive this award. I've also been involved for a number of initiatives and particularly the diversity and also the mentoring for our mentoring program, and then gave me the opportunity to create future engineering leaders who will strengthen our profession for a future that better deliver for New Zealanders. If I am successful, I have committed to remain responsible for the strategic and overall direction of the organization. And I will always be learning, embracing new competencies and diversity at the board. And through a number of initiatives, I have also bring along strong governance experience. I'm sitting on a number of boards, and apart from Engineering New Zealand, I'm also a chief executive of New Zealand Geothermal Association, a membership organization that also serving a number of members, including over 500. I'm also a trustee of Enterprise Great Lake Topo, global board member of the US Geothermal Resources Council, chair of the International Partnership of Geothermal Technology, and also the president of Scots College. And these positions enable me to gain extensive experience in business innovation, managing emerging issues such as regulatory compliance, governance, and strategy development. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you. Wayne.
Kia ora. Am I not muted? I've just had a technology fail. Good start. Kia ora, tēnā koutou. Ko te mata te monga, ko tuki tuki te awa, ko karanima te kāinga unoho ana, ko Wayne Hatcher ahau. For those that haven't spotted, I live in Hawke's Bay. My name is Wayne Hatcher. I'm a proud civil engineer and recently appointed fellow with more than 30 years experience, mostly in roads and public infrastructure management nationally and internationally. Like many of my colleagues, I've spent time overseas, living and working in the UK and globally for formerly Opus and now WSP. Since 2018, I have led and provided governance at the executive level for the technical health of WSP in New Zealand, which includes more than 800 members of this fantastic organisation, and as many members of other professional bodies. So it gives me great insight into what our other professional colleagues are up to as well. I believe that experience provides me the insight and capability needed to fulfil the requirements of a board member. I intend to serve the profession while upholding its purpose, the Charter, and to ensure we continue to connect with industry, further rebuild our credibility, grow our influence, and increase public recognition for the incredibly important role that we play in the fabric of New Zealand society. There are 4 key points that I will be working with the board, with my fellow board members to navigate through. First being obviously the reform agenda for our profession and ensuring that we get the best outcome for our members that we can from that process. Secondly, obviously Auckland has been the most recent event, but it's not the only event we've had relative to climate change. I live in provincial New Zealand. Provincial New Zealand has had equally significant events over the last few years, and Auckland is the pinnacle of that just at the moment. So we need to accelerate our professional response to the impacts of climate change. 80% of the infrastructure or more that we need by 2050 or even 2060 is already in place. We need to be able to manage that infrastructure better, get better outcomes from it. And I would be looking to the profession to be furthering its asset management capabilities and promoting the introduction of an asset management practice area. Another area that we need to work on is promoting the next generation of engineers and technologists into our professional practice area. We are short of engineers, and we desperately need to ensure that not only do we meet our current needs, that we inspire the next generation to come through, and we're working with the board to do that. Lastly, life is a balance. Life is a balance between our family, our work, our friends, colleagues, and our commitment to community. I like to have a balance in my life, and I believe by becoming a board member for Engineering New Zealand, I'll be fulfilling some of those values that I have around commitment to community. Thank you, and kia ora.
Thank you. Sarah.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Sarah Sinclair toko ingoa. So I'm a civil engineer and a proud Londoner, as well as being a proud Kiwi nowadays. I'm a civil engineer. I work mainly in waters. My current role is the Chief Infrastructure Officer at Palmerston North City Council. So my local branches are the mighty Manawatu as well as Auckland. Because I have a family home in Auckland, but I'm just about to join Fire and Emergency New Zealand as the Deputy Chief Exec for Organisational Strategy and Capability Development. And you'll find that capability development, ongoing capability, and that focus on resilience to us as a profession and resilience for New Zealand and the world are really the things that interest me. My background is varied. I've worked with a few people also standing on the board this morning. I've worked in construction, I've worked in consultancy. I've been in the world of municipal engineering for the last 10 years ago. So I was Auckland Council's chief engineer for about 9 years ago. I also ran the Civil Defence Department for about 18 months of that as a second job. I've been on a number of boards. I've passed my chartership exams, but I haven't sat on a board that constitutes the final step of making chartership since I passed my exams, because I've been sitting with the Chartered Professional Engineers Council for the last 3 years, working on appeals from engineers. So I do really care about engineering as a profession for life, about supporting engineers in their careers. And I care about engineering because we develop and protect our nation. I've got a very strong interest in sustainability and resilience because of that, because I think we should all be focusing on how we make the best engineering for the environment that we're in, and how we then ensure a resilient and sustainable profession so that we can keep a resilient and sustainable society. As a chief engineer in Auckland, I'm really proud that we developed a technical guidance working with iwi across Auckland to start to incorporate Te Ao Māori into our best practice guidance, because it makes for better engineering outcomes. I've been working with the University of Auckland for 5 years, chairing their graduate school advisory board. I think it's really important to keep engineering a vital and exciting profession with our ongoing ability to learn and adapt. That's for the next generations, but also our current generations, because life changes really quick nowadays. As we can see through all of our experiences with the various disasters that we have, and how our industry has to respond to them. I'd like to serve our profession through being part of the board that helps Engineering New Zealand navigate through the changes that affect our membership, including registration, government changes, and how we respond to shortages across the profession. And I'm really clear that we have to keep engineering appealing to people, and to help maintain its role and its status in society, so that we can continue to attract people into the profession. So I want to help guide Engineering New Zealand be a welcoming and supportive membership body, as well as being an excellent registration body that strengthens the competence and builds a reputation of engineers in society. Other things I've been involved in, because I think we all need to be supportive to a diversity of people, are the Women's Infrastructure Network. I'm a founder member of the Women's Infrastructure Network to help guide and give people support to do things like attend events where they know people and feel welcome. I also, while I was in Auckland, was part of the Ethnic Peoples Advisory Panel. My background is a mixed race Londoner. And I have to say, one of my keen interests in diversity, because when I joined the profession, I'm not what anyone thought the traditional civil engineer should look like or sound like, for that matter. So I'm standing for the board because I really want to help support Engineering New Zealand moving into the changing society. My interests are resilience, sustainability, and keeping that flow of qualified and competent engineers, which I think maintaining competence through all of our lives has got to be part of that too. And I actually think Engineering New Zealand does an awesome job there in terms of offering opportunities to maintain competence. I'm really pleased to be standing today. It's also awesome to see so many people that I know also standing, because it just reflects how we are as a profession and what a standard of people we've evolved through developing competence and providing fantastic careers. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for the opportunity to stand. I hope you vote for me, but either way, I'm very proud to be standing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Jeremy.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy Walden. I'm a Chartered Professional Engineer and the Head of Bridges and Civil Structures at WSP New Zealand. So as part of my national role, I lead a team of over 100 people throughout the country. My experience over the past 16 years has involved building structures, bridges and civil structures, transport design and asset management. I'm based in Christchurch and part of the Canterbury branch of Engineering New Zealand. I'm really passionate about our industry and would love the opportunity to use my skills to provide leadership and direction to the Engineering New Zealand board and the profession. At around a third of the way through my career, I believe I'd bring a really great balance of youth and enthusiasm plus experience to the board. So in terms of experience, I work with a broad range of engineering disciplines and have led teams through key challenges, including response and recovery to multiple devastating earthquake and storm events, and also lead teams on major design projects, as well as looking after existing infrastructure. I think we all know the 2020s have been a hugely challenging decade, whether it be disaster events, like I mentioned, the pandemic, material shortages, workforce shortages, and ongoing legislative changes. It's been a really challenging decade and will continue to be so. And I feel my diverse range of skills and leadership, business management, disaster recovery, and also my technical expertise position me really well to support Engineering New Zealand and the board through these continued challenges moving forward. I've been chartered for just over 10 years now, and I think my focus on the technical aspects of engineering are really, really key to support the board. So I'm really keen to push recognition, both for engineers, technologists and technicians, especially through the changing regulatory environment that's coming. I believe first and foremost as engineers, technicians, technologists, we're problem solvers. And I think with all the myriad of issues out there, our technical expertise still needs to be the #1 focus. I have a really strong connection with universities. I've volunteered helping uni students transitioning to the workforce, giving guest lectures over many years and connecting with research projects. And I think it's really important to continue building the connection between academia and the industry. I've also volunteered for a number of organisations such as Engineers Without Borders, and more recently getting involved in Bridges to Prosperity. And I'm really passionate about our industry and how we can support these voluntary organisations. And finally, so at the position about a third of the way through my career, I believe I can still relate and identify to those just starting off and earlier in their career. And I'm really passionate that we continue supporting people as they transition and come into the industry. So thank you very much for this opportunity to stand for the board. Kia ora.
Thank you, Emma. Emma, you're on mute.
I knew I'd forget something. Kia ora koutou katoa. Ko Emma Lloyd toko ingoa no o Te Tahi Ahau. Hello, my name is Emma. I am very excited to be here and introducing myself, and I'm a little bit scared as well to be introducing myself in front of a group of very, very well established and technically competent people. I am a very recent graduate of the University of Canterbury, where I did an electrical and electronics engineering degree. I am currently working in the power industry for a wonderful company down in Ōtautahi called Kinetics, and we do some awesome work in the power sector. I am having such a great time currently in my role, and I'm trying to take as many opportunities as I can. What I can see currently for Engineering New Zealand and for our young people is that we don't quite have as much of a voice as I think we should do. We have our Young Engineers branch. I'm lucky to be on the Canterbury branch and I'm having a really good time. However, I think there's a little bit more that we can say in order to affect our governance. Currently, my career to date is relatively small and it actually all lies in my future. And a lot of the change that we're making now, the things we are thinking about, the strategy, everything we are talking about is actually going to affect my career in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So I feel like I really need a voice myself as a rangatahi for young professionals in order to help make that change for my career and my working life. As a power engineer, I have a lot to do with climate action. Pretty much the whole of my industry is centered around decarbonisation, electrification, and sustainability. Engineering New Zealand is looking at how we can make positive moves in this area, and it's so important that we can talk to our power engineers. This centre, our industry is central to this, and we need to be able to have a voice alongside our other disciplines in order to make the best decisions. We really need a full central view of this. Otherwise, I'm really interested in lots of different things in my spare time. A lot of people who know me will joke, I do a lot of interesting things, but I'm very keen on working with young people and getting young people interested in STEM. It's a really big passion of mine, right from when I was at uni, working with Māori students right from the start of uni to make sure that we're getting more Māori through into our professional industries, as well as just in general getting more females, more diversity across the industry. That's a bit of me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dietrich.
Good morning. How's everyone? Thank you. I'm not even going to try to do it in Maori. Sorry, I barely speak English, as you know from my accent. I'm not from New Zealand, so apologies. Basically, my story is I'm an immigrant. I came here with nothing, basically a suitcase. I only came with an engineering degree. My first job here, after being a chartered engineer in Venezuela, was dishwasher. That's the only job I could get, and no one would hire me. So I had to basically do hospital for a couple of years, and then one guy named Mark Carney, rest in peace, he gave me an opportunity and never looked back since. I got chartered with his company. I've been doing, basically, I've done it all in land development. Even looked at the CCTV wastewater videos that no one wants to do, you know, what we call the dirty videos in the business. Basically, I think I can bring a fresh perspective because I'm young. I've been chartered for six years now, I think. I think I represent a lot of the people in the organization. They're young people, they're keen, you know, like they don't know a lot, they just want some guidance. And I believe I know enough to guide some people. I just want to get back to the profession. Basically, that's my only reason to apply for this role. I don't have fancy titles. I'm not part of any fancy boards. No, I'm just a keen guy who wants to help the industry make it better, because I do believe we need to innovate it. We're being overseas for a number of years and working overseas for a number of years. I do believe we can do things better here, and I want to be part of that change. I want to make it more diverse, the industry, not such a boys' club like I see it sometimes. I love working with female engineers. I think they're awesome. Preferably, to be honest, working more with female engineers than male, because they have way more attention to detail and they're super responsible. Basically, that's my story. I'm not going to make it too long just because I know there's more people there. And to summarize, I just want the industry to be a more open industry. I want to focus on immigrant engineers as well, so they don't have a hard time as I had. It built my character, but man, it was hard work. And then that's it. No, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. So we've got two Camerons, just so as to not be confused. So Cameron McKay.
Kia ora te whānau whānui. My name is Cameron Mackay. I'm the Head of Design and Asset Information at Powerco in the electricity team, based here in Wellington. I'm a chartered mechanical engineer, and I've made a career in the electricity supply industry. But different to a number of other people on the call here, I hear mainly civil engineers and a few electrical and maybe a mechatronics engineer. But as a mechanical engineer, I think I have a unique perspective on the world and able to draw together a wide range of different engineering disciplines. And so in my role at Powerco, I'm accountable to our executive team on the engineering and design process. I work closely with build contractors and consultants across Aotearoa. The work I'm involved with, as I kind of alluded to there, is truly multidisciplinary. You know, we've got mechanical, electrical, and civil aspects, and I also have a strong sustainability focus and am heavily involved in the decarbonisation discussion. And I think something to highlight here is that electricity is being seen as the saviour for the planet at the moment, and I'm really proud to be involved in our industry where we are helping to decarbonise the transport and process heat fleets across our country and hopefully across the world to try and reduce our carbon emissions. In that vein, I think we're currently standing on a precipice and staring down the barrel of a quickly warming world. The time to act is now, and that's on all of us, everyone on the call. We play a vital role in delivering a sustainable future and really harnessing the world's scarce resources and technologies and innovating to enable that. What am I standing for? Look, we need to raise our profile of our profession with everyday New Zealanders. You know, how many times have you told someone you're an engineer and they say, oh, okay, what is that? I think we need to earn the right to influence and lead. And our role is and should be as trusted professional advisors to government, to industry. We need to change the equation here because we aren't seen as that at present, and we should be because we are that. We also need to make our profession attractive to young people. Young people have got all sorts of things that they can go into now, and engineering, I'm not sure, is seen as the sexy profession it maybe once was. So I think we need to widen and focus on growing that pond of great minds for the next generation of engineers who are going to help us with that sustainability challenge as we progress through that. I believe this board needs someone who knows what's happening on the ground, and I do, who isn't afraid to speak their mind, and I'm not, and who cares deeply about the longevity and sustainability of our profession. I'm travelling a lot for work at the moment. We've got assets across the North Island and offices across the North Island, much to my lovely wife's despair. So I'm happy to be invited to come and chew the fat with any of you and your colleagues across the North Island. I'm not getting down to the South Island very often at the moment, but happy to call in on the teams and hear from you guys, what's really on your minds. As I've kind of noted here, I intend to bring a different perspective and voice to the board for the future of our profession. Thank you all, finally, for the opportunity to represent you. Thanks.
Thank you. And Cameron Chapman. Thanks.
Kia ora Tanya. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko ngā pui toko iwi, kei te noho au ki Ōtautahi, ko Cameron Chapman toko ingoa. I'm an engineering manager for Mitten Electronet Consulting, where I look after a team of talented electrical engineers designing the future of our electricity system. I have over 15 years of experience in the electricity sector, and I am passionate about renewable generation. I have served on branch committees for Te Ao Rangahau Engineering New Zealand for most of my career, including the position of chair in Canterbury and in Waikato. I realise that attracting and retaining future engineers is key to our success. I am serving as a member on the Industry Advisory Board for the Engineering Management Program at the University of Canterbury. Previously, I held a position on the Waikato Engineering Careers Association board. I'm really excited to see our rangatahi in the power sector making waves. As a mentor myself, for me, success is seeing the mentees rise, and Emma is one of those that we see today. Last year, I was named as the Young Engineer of the Year by the Electricity Engineers Association. As part of this award, I am representing New Zealand as a global ambassador for the IEC, an international standards body. In this role, I am representing the diverse views of young professionals at executive board level. Good governance is all about making decisions for the long term. The recent events in Auckland show us that we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough to meet our zero carbon objectives. We're not doing enough to mitigate the effects of climate change. And that leads to the thoughts with those in the area, and I understand we need to do more. I'm really excited to be standing for the board and look forward to bringing my diverse range of knowledge and skills to the table. My links to leading international bodies and passion for creating the next generation of engineers are key skills for the board. Kia ora.
Thank you. Elise.
Tēnā koe Tanya, i ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā hui whā, i ngā rangatira mā, tēnā tātou. Ko wai tēnei, he uri hau no Ngāti Rangi Nui hoki, i tupu ake o ki hakatere o Waitaha o Te Waipounamu he a tāhua te mautiri, e nainei kei te whanganui a tara a hawi noho ana. Ko Elise Larser tōku ingoa. Nō reira, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora mai tātou, my name is Elise Larser, a whakapapa te Tauranga Moana, Ireland and England. I grew up in Ashburton mainly, in the beautiful Te Waipounamu. Now I'm based in Te Whanganui outside of Wellington. I work as a water engineer for WSP New Zealand. I'm a graduate, so much like Emma, I'm really conscious, really passionate about what this engineering and what our engineering industry is doing to better our environment, our people, our society, because it is the fabric of what we're doing in today's world. Why me? I am, like I've said before, incredibly passionate about Te Taiao, what we're doing for our future mokopuna. What this means is now we're supporting Engineering New Zealand members to navigate challenges and the opportunities that we're seeing, such as, like Wayne's touched on, legislative change, the mana o te wai, te oranga o te taiao, decarbonisation, gap within intermediate engineers that we're seeing now that the borders are open, supporting the pipeline of those coming through and empowering all engineers to bring their full selves to work. I'm passionate about supporting all of those initiatives if I make it to the board. I advise on the Physical Sciences Return on Science Committee and have advised Te Waihanga Infrastructure Commission as part of the Ao Māori testing panel for this country's 30-year infrastructure strategy. I've also served as a Vice President for the Canterbury Student Volunteer Army and manager for the Youth Voice Canterbury down in Ōtautahi. So I know what it's like to be on the other end of a governance board. I've also represented Aotearoa to Taiwan. That was all about thinking differently, how we use our smart technology to better society. So in terms of opportunities, I really try and take them and grasp them and hold them in two hands because I understand how limited they can be for some people. I've experienced helping to set the strategic and financial direction of these organisations at the national and local levels. I've also volunteered to Engineering Without Borders, given guest lectures and speaking to kaupapa that support women in engineering, Māori within engineering. And with that, in my spare time, I host the Māori in Engineering podcast, a resource for anyone, absolutely anyone, to learn the stories of leading Māori within this engineering space, because they are out there. We just need the support and the empowerment of them to share their story and for us to listen, learn, and gain knowledge to apply within our engineering practices. Another thing about me that I'm very proud of is that I'm on my own haringa of reconnecting with Māoridom and avidly learning Te Reo Māori. So I know what it's like to stumble and fall and get back up within this space, and it's something that the engineering industry has been doing and it will be doing and continue to be doing within the future. So myself being on the board, what I'll bring to that will be my support and strength in navigating the industry's own journey so it can best support our members to do the same. I'm not afraid to ask questions, speak up, challenge the status quo. Just because we've done something this way for so long, why does it need to be continued being done like that? I understand that I'm a young, so rangatahi, wahine Māori, so representing this voice, the opportunity, the responsibility of that does not hold or does not feel light to me at all. So yes, I'm incredibly passionate. I'm incredibly I have the relevant experience to bring to this board, and I just really hope you vote for me. And tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora rā tātou.
Thank you. And finally, Aidan.
The unenviable task of being the last. There we go. Kia ora, everybody. My name's Aidan Cooper. I'm a chartered civil environmental engineer with 20 years experience. I'm currently an associate director in the transport sector with AECOM, specialising in stormwater, where I lead and develop engineers to deliver sustainable designs, minimising our development effects to the environment and best advising local central government with regards to infrastructure. Certainly been a busy week here in Auckland, and I feel a little behind the 8 ball preparing for this. So please forgive me if I come across a little unpolished. As you can see, I am here standing for the Engineering New Zealand Board. My leadership within the engineering profession has been fairly continuous since arriving home from England and the UK in 2010. Since then, I have committed myself to the Engineering NZ Auckland Committee. In this role, I have started and have continued to deliver multiple events which celebrate the Auckland Region's engineers and our students. These events have included outward-facing events, inward celebration events, but all the way through it, my connection has been to our students, to our tertiary students, and to our communities. I'm currently chairing the ENZ Auckland Committee. I started this role in 2010, following on from Julie Rain. That was a challenging period through the COVID shutdown. However, I had the opportunity to lead the team to continue to deliver future-focused technical forums, online social events at the time, and now in-person social events, engaging with industry, technical interest groups to openly and honestly discuss what engineering challenges the industry will face to deliver a carbon neutral future. They've also included social and networking events, connecting our members and strengthening our connections with other professions, connecting with our STEMs providers, connecting with our region's schools and students to strengthen our profession, connecting with the communities that otherwise have no connection with engineering, celebrating engineers and engineering in the region, showcasing our work, our members and their achievements. I'm also currently chair of the Unitec Industry Advisory Committee. As chair, I'm currently leading through the transition with Manukau Institute of Technology and Unitec to Te Pūkenga restructuring. It's been a real eye-opener with this, identifying with the exec challenges that are going to be facing our education system. And as we all know, there are very few engineers, there aren't enough engineers coming through our training sector. So identifying opportunities of where our future engineers should be trained and directing that training to make it more inclusive for communities to direct their students and their children towards engineering as a profession. In the past, I have served on the Engineering NZ, or back then it was the IPENZ board. I was involved with the board in the restructuring of IPENZ. The outcome of that was a more inclusive organisation with a membership structure that was aligned to international engineering organisations. And in 2019, since 2019, I've been a member of the Engineering Practice Advisory Committee. As a committee, I have worked with ENZ Executive to identify engineering risk and was involved in the professional foresighting exercise, looking at the profession and what shape it could be in 2050. This provided me an insight to the challenges that we will be facing as a profession over the next 30 odd years, and very clearly seeing the level of governance and direction required from the profession to achieve a sustainable outcome for New Zealand and engineering. My beliefs: I believe Engineering NZ and ENZ and engineering is critical to New Zealand. We are the professional problem solvers, and we should be the go-to people for solving these issues that New Zealand face. I believe our members want to improve New Zealand, engage with the communities they live and work in. I believe we can do more to connect with our communities, engage and introduce the profession to our communities, and encourage students and children into the profession. What am I here for? I can bring an in-depth understanding of the membership-based organisation and will prioritise the following with the ENZ board. I want to raise our public profile for the profession. As a personal story, I grew up in a neighbourhood where an engineer fixed cars. Connecting with this neighbourhood and maintaining this connection, I've realised that that perception for engineers remains. They don't know what a civil engineer does. They don't know what they know what a mechanical engineer does. They have an idea. I want to increase our public recognition of the profession. I want us to face outwards. I want us to connect with the communities and the people that don't see engineering as a profession or as a career future. I want engineering to lead local and central government to make informed and sustainable decisions for the good of New Zealand. Engineers become the go-to advisor to direct development, risk, policy, etc. I believe ENZ can strengthen our connection with our communities we live and work in, and I believe that that strengthening with our communities will lead on to government interaction and students. My experience is well placed to lead New Zealand ENZ into a sustainable future, both as a membership-based organisation and by ensuring our industry is focused on delivering sustainable infrastructure. I firmly believe ENZ should be the national voice to direct and deliver sustainable infrastructure outcomes for New Zealand, New Zealanders, and the global economy we work in. So hopefully that's not too short and sharp, Tanya.
That's great. Wow, is all I can say. What an impressive panel of candidates. Huge passion. If it was up to me, I'd put you all on because I have a high stake being a staff member here, and that is really heartening to hear. So I am so grateful for you all putting it forward. We have a slight issue here, and I'm going to ask for your to work with me on this. I want to get everybody through one question, and we have very short amount of time. So I'm going to ask you to be as succinct as possible in the questions that I ask you and try and answer within like 30 seconds if you can. I have got this. If I show this, you've got to stop because otherwise we are not going to give everybody a chance. Okay, so we're going to blast through this, starting with you, Aaron. The two questions I have for you, which I'll ask you to answer together, is what skills you bring to the board table that others may not have in that vice president role, and the roles engineers have in shaping the future.
Big questions for 30 seconds. I'll try really hard. So what skills I bring are unique skills, leading organizations through change. So in my current role, I've led the organization through COVID-19. I've developed cultural competency, rolled that out for the company. I'm actually calling from Melbourne, so I'm here working with the team around occupational regulation in Victoria. So I think all of those changes I think are relevant for us as Engineering New Zealand. I bring that experience to the board. What role engineers shape the future? We're world builders, in my view, understated. As a consulting engineer, I get a lot of pleasure seeing our team working at the policy level and advisory level upstream, and shaping how projects look and the tangible benefits to the community. And I think we're all a bit understated, to be honest. So I'd love it if we can promote our membership to influence policy and shape the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Kenny, the two questions I have for you, again, Vice President, but you're also just reminding people you're going for the board roles as well. What should Engineering New Zealand be focused on right now, and why? And if you were Vice President, how would you help the board to perform strongly?
Thank you, Tanya. So I believe that to achieve and continuing the purpose of the Engineering New Zealand, I was involved as a board director and co-designed with management team in establishing our long-term goals. So that was the 2050 vision for our organization, and also a well-defined strategy for achieving those goals. And that was also done in 2022. I also represent the board on the Engineering New Zealand Climate Actions Program since it began. And I believe I will continue to represent our members' interests by increasing the focus on monitoring the delivery of Engineering New Zealand strategy performance over the time. I will foster constructive relationships with our members, key stakeholders, and that encourage them to increase engagement with our organization. the organization is going through a number of changes, such as regulatory reform, climate action, membership engagement. These are vital to put through our members' voices while we are designing and also implementing our initiative for the next few years. I believe that I will have the strong governance experience and skills to pursue those. Thank you so much. Kia ora.
Thanks, Kenny. Wayne, so how would you value and promote Te Ao Māori for all our members?
So this is a change program that we need to be working through with all of our members. And change starts with leadership, and that starts with the leaders on this call and now the board members. Our leaders becoming confident and familiar with Te Ao Māori will provide the confidence for our members to start to engage and learn the values that are essential to the Māori world and our own futures. Engineering New Zealand has a key role to play in that through providing training, insights, and identifying leaders who can assist members to become more confident in Te Ao Māori. That will be assisted by stories of where, not just stories, but actual evidence and case studies of where great outcomes have been achieved. And there are many, many examples where we have got fantastic outcomes for communities through good engagement and having confidence to engage with the Māori world through support mechanisms which have been made available. So Engineering New Zealand has a key role to play for members in that process. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah, what role does Engineering New Zealand have in increasing the diversity of the profession?
Thank you, Tanya, and you're doing a great job. Great job. I think as a membership body, we have a big role in encouraging and welcoming a wide range of people into the profession. We've talked about resourcing, reflecting society, being attractive to all generations, not just the next generation, but we also need to set society's expectations of what engineers look like and sound like. So I think we need to be a welcoming membership body and help society work with who we are. This might be major initiatives like the diversity agenda, our Te Reo Māori journey, helping migrant engineers transition into New Zealand with a supportive group of friends and career options from day one, working with employers to ensure we retain our older members and keep their skills as they sort of transition into hopefully a more restful time. But it's also the small stuff, representation and visibility every day, celebrating our differences, celebrating how diversity of thought has created success for engineers. I think that the Engineering New Zealand has a really strong role. Let's do it.
Thank you. And I am sorry to be cutting people off, but we need to keep moving. So Jeremy, what are some of the steps the profession might take to increase the influence of engineers in central and local government?
Kia ora, Tanya. Engineers' influence in central and local government is absolutely crucial. So if you think of changes coming through, such as sustainability and climate change goals, the increasing influence of Te Ao Māori, regulatory change, both in chartership and RMA reform, potential three waters coming. Engineers are absolutely critical to be advising on all of these issues. So what steps can we take? Well, we really need to be seen and heard. It's absolutely critical. Well, I remember post-earthquake, how much engineers were talked about after the major Christchurch and Canterbury earthquakes. I feel like that's dropped off in recent times, and I think our voice needs to increase. Secondly, we need to explain technical things in a non-technical way that could be understood. I remember going out with a mayor after a bridge collapsed in a flood and just having to explain to him both how the bridge performed in floods and earthquakes. And look, finally, we just need to listen to our members and have a very clear communication through central government as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Emma, are engineers there to meet a client's need, or do they have a role in helping drive a better outcomes for society?
Thank you, Tanya. That's a good question. I think there has to be both. We can't just look to our clients, and we also can't just look to wider community initiatives. And I think each one kind of helps each other. If we are only working for our clients and only thinking about the best for them and essentially sitting in a kind of communist kind of money situation, we're not going to do super well for our clients, and we're actually going to do better for them if we're looking to the wider outcomes of society as well as the engineering profession in general. If we kind of look at our diversity, inclusion, outreach opportunities, things we can do in order to strengthen the profession from within, that is actually going to help our clients. They're going to get better diversity of thought. The representation that's better within the industry is going to mean that their solutions are going to be better. They're going to come from people who are more well-rounded and have a lot more to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Dietrich, what's the main reason members should pick you to represent their interests on the board?
Man, you gave all the good, easy questions away. Eh? You gave me the hard one. No, it's a good question, actually. Basically, it's because of my style, my leadership style. I lead by example. I wouldn't ask anyone to do any groundwork if I haven't done it myself. So I do represent, I believe, the majority of the engineers in the organization because I've done the work myself. I know how it is. I know how I think we can do it better as an organization. And also, engineers, in my mind, are rock stars, and that's not the way some people see it here. So we need to, I believe we need to influence that more. I've been a mentor to young engineers. I've gained inside knowledge to what they want as a part of the organization because some of them, they're shy, they don't want to speak up. So I'm here to represent the young engineers and the immigrant engineers as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Cameron Mackay, what should Engineering New Zealand's role be in influencing how projects are procured and delivered?
I think Engineering New Zealand has a unique position at the centre of our profession, representing the diverse range of engineers who work on all manner of projects, from product development through the manufacturing process to bridge design. We're seeing high commodity prices, long lead times, resourcing issues across the globe, and there's pretty dynamic geopolitical situation, which is significantly impacting all of our ability to deliver. As I said in my opening, Engineering New Zealand's role should be in influencing by highlighting the vast contribution we make as engineers on a daily basis. And I agree with Jeremy, this has significantly dropped off after the earthquakes. It's fair to say we're not a profession who blows our own trumpet. We're quiet achievers, and it's Engineering New Zealand's role, in my opinion, to highlight the great and diverse work that we're doing across the projects that we're working on. We often talk about best practice. I believe Engineering New Zealand's specific role in projects is to ensure our industry training and sharing enables all of us to easily connect our members to great resources. We are central to ensuring we're an attractive profession with well-trained young engineers. It's great to see a few of those on the call this morning. Lastly, as I noted, we're all grappling with the decarbonisation challenge, and in my opinion, Engineering New Zealand is central to empowering and enabling all of us to contribute efficiently and effectively to that conversation. Thanks.
Thank you. Cameron Chapman, what is the biggest challenge that you see facing the profession right now?
Kia ora, Tanya. A succinct answer is uncertainty. But as engineers, uncertainty is exciting, right? We love to solve problems. So if I turn it around from a board perspective, the questions are, we've been given the task to get to zero carbon, but how do we get to zero carbon? We need to answer that. We don't have enough engineers coming through. How do we solve that? Where programs like the Wonder Project, is that doing enough? Chartership and registration, that's going to be uncertain and changing over the next few years. Is that model supporting what we need as engineers going into the future? Let's look overseas for some of the solutions.
Thank you. All right, Elise, what do you think might make Engineering New Zealand more attractive to emerging professionals?
Awesome. Tēnā koe, Tanya. What I think will make Engineering New Zealand more attractive to emerging professionals, I've got 4 key points. I'll try to fire through them pretty quickly. Continuing the opportunity to network, whakawhanaungatanga relationship building within engineering, I believe is really vital and crucial to plan, to construct, to design better worlds that better serve our communities, and we need to do that through relationship building. 2 is opportunity to develop. The beauty of all of these challenges and opportunities and changes and uncertainty that all of the fellow candidates have talked upon this morning is the fact that there are a lot of changes happening. The beautiful part is that we will always be developing through facing those changes. So providing industry training, a steadfast front and guidance as we face those opportunities is really vital for Engineering New Zealand to support our emerging professionals. 3 is for emerging leaders who are keen to, like I said, head off out of Aotearoa, making it appealing and desirable on the international stage for them to come back and utilise what they've used and learned from overseas and apply it back in our communities. And 4th is the ability to have their voices heard at all levels. That's why I'm standing for board, is to have their voices representative at the highest governing level. Ka pai.
Thank you. And finally, Aidan, with the longest question, these questions, as we said, were all asked by members. So Te Ao Rangahau Engineering New Zealand rules require that Te Ao Rangahau to recognise the Te Tiriti o Waitangi and to commit to promote the treaty principles of partnership, protection and participation in all aspects of their work. If elected, how would you ensure the organisation complies with this rule?
Yeah, goodness. I'm glad you ended on that one, Tanya. So the ENZ rules require the Treaty of Waitangi and partnership. It's ingrained in our rules as a profession. How will I ensure the organisation complies with the principles? The principles of governance, tēnā rangatanga and ore titanga. Our membership is always evolving, and with each generation adding their own flair and understanding. However, these principles are consistent. Engineers moving into an area and delivering infrastructure without working and engaging with the communities I see as in the past. We need to work with our communities, engage with our communities, develop our communities not only with concrete and asphalt, but with education, engagement, and contributing holistically at all levels of these communities that we work in and live. I see that this won't only open up the profession to the community, it will also make the professional appealing to students, make us a known element. I think that the engagement with our children and with our student levels and at every level of the communities we work in will raise awareness of us as a profession and make us the go-to profession for elements such as disaster relief. So we're at the forefront of people's minds when another flood or another earthquake occur, but not only that, engage people to ask us proactively, to turn around to us and say, we have this problem, or is this a problem? And then our professional problem solvers can come into play. We can do this by providing training, support and advice to our members on how to consult and engage with the communities, but not only work in, but live in as well.
Thank you. So you all passed. That was the pressure test that you didn't realize was going to happen. How can you answer members' questions in the shortest amount of time? So no, I am truly grateful for your commitment this morning and for getting through that. And it is great to learn a bit more about you. As I say, wow, and a really impressive panel. I'm so grateful that you have put your profiles together, be prepared to commit in this way to volunteering. We have hundreds of volunteers across New Zealand, and we could not operate for this profession without them, and we are truly grateful to all of you. Having a strong board is always vital, but at the moment with the challenges you have all outlined, it is even more vital that we have the strongest board we can, and we are very, very grateful for the high caliber of people putting themselves forward. I also want to thank our audience this morning, and to anyone who missed it but is listening to the recording, thank you for your interest as well. We encourage everyone to vote. The voting is online only. It is open until noon on Monday, the 7th of March. This is an STV, so you rank as many candidates as you feel comfortable to rank and order. So please read the instructions carefully and do that, and encourage others in your colleagues and friend base and committees that you're part of to vote, because we really want to hear the voice of the profession and this. So that's it. And since I started with an in New Zealand quote, I will end with one too. But thank you all. Be safe, take care, particularly those of you in Auckland, and mā te wā.